What's up guys, it's Chris, Bonafide Hustler, coming to you live from my garage. It's the video of the week, and I can't be happier because it's been a good week as a hustler. Alright, I found some really cool things. I'm going to show you those things in this episode today. We're going to be wrapping up the segment with have a process. And that kind of means like, what's the process to process? You'll see what I'm talking about. It's kind of weird, but it's very important, right? As you find an item, what do you do with that item? Like, where do you go with it? What do you do? And like, how do you get it looking all awesome so that way you can make the most amount of money with that item, okay? So let's talk about some of the things I found this week. Like I said, it's been a really good week. Pay attention because some of the stuff I found today is totally one of a kind. And you can find these things at your local garage sales, estate sales, this and that. I mean, I just never thought I was going to find stuff like this, but it's pretty cool stuff, okay? So we're going to go from this way to that way. Let's start with this. This was a real estate board game. I found a bunch of these things at Salvation Army, and they're dirt cheap. They had marked $3.99 on the side, but I went on a half off day. As you guys will see if you guys read my book when that comes out, I discuss things like this and off days, and as a student discount and as a senior discount, like what do you stand to get off and why do you go on those certain days, and well, it's pretty obvious why you go. And you find stuff like this. It's a totally new board game. The Ron LeGrand's quick turn real estate game. This stuff sells for about anywhere between 20 and 40 bucks on eBay. And this one right here, got it for $2. So quick flip, and I got a bunch of them. So I'm going to be pretty good on this one, okay? Let's talk about this. Nothing really crazy, just an old pulley. And this old pulley, who knows what it was used for? Maybe some textile manufacturing plant. I went to a really awesome estate sale last weekend, and it was on a Friday, okay? So don't ever dismiss things that are on Fridays. Pretty much on a Thursday evening, I kind of get excited about Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because that kind of means estate sales, garage sales, and then 50% off estate sales, which typically aren't very good at the very last part, like on the Sundays. But estate sales are kind of cool because those are the ones that give you all the pictures on Craigslist even before you go to the sale. So you don't have to waste your time going there. But if you see a bunch of stuff on the pictures, like I said in previous videos, that you like, then go to it, right? So I found this thing over there. And I think it was like $5, nothing crazy, right? Just a little pulley wheel, but it weighs a lot. Someone could turn this into like a tiny little spotlight or the base of something cool, okay? So this is totally worth the money. And I could probably sell it for like 40 bucks. I got an old, right here, Sony Radio. This thing's really cool. There's a moth on it. God, it scared the shit out of me. Fuck out of here. So yeah, I got an old Sony Radio. That is, I got it for $10, right? This thing sells on eBay for anywhere between 30 and like 60 bucks. It's really cool. It's in good condition, so probably closer to like 40. It's really awesome. I like it, and it totally works. So I made sure to check it out before I bought it from Goodwill. Of course, the Goodwill here in I think anywhere else in the nation, you have like a 48-hour return window if you have electronics. Okay, so electronics, 48-hour window. So even if it didn't work and I found it out at home, I could still return it. It's no big deal. Alright, so here comes some of the cool stuff. At that same Goodwill, I was so surprised to find this. This is a rifle. Okay, I know everyone knows what a rifle is. Hey, it's a rifle. No, it's a rifle, and it's totally awesome because it's like, it's got totally, rusted stuff on it. The patina is all this and that. I don't know if I'm going to clean it. It's a 410, and it's from an H&R brand, Harrington and Richardson Incorporated. Nothing like Benelli or Beretta or anything like that. But certainly more than the $10 that I paid for it. So I'm going to get it appraised later on. And I don't know if I'm going to clean it, but when you get stuff in this condition, kind of like the Civil War bullets in the previous videos, you kind of don't want to like mess with it until someone tells you, you should clean that or don't clean it. But don't ever take it upon yourself to make that decision. Take it to an expert, and experts literally on the fly. You don't have to pay for assessment. Sometimes if you just walk in with it and they just tell you what it is, they don't charge you anything. And they'll tell you what's worth. All right. So the estate sale on Friday was really cool. It was there was a little aficionado guy that really liked airplane stuff, old World War, I believe, II kind of stuff, this and that, just airplanes in general. And so he found it at an estate sale, a bunch of airplane parts that he just loved. And then I went to his estate sale and I found a lot of cool stuff that I liked, but I just couldn't buy it all. So here's one of the things that I found. It's a wind up. You can hear that. It's winding up. It's a Tag Heuer, however you want to say it, clock for the inside of a fighter jet. Okay, so this is what it gets screwed to the panel this way, and then it's an actual working clock. As you can see, it's ticking And this thing is straight out of like maybe the 50s or the 60s. So this thing's amazing. And there's no price to it because you can't find this thing kind of anywhere. So it's really, you post it forever, whatever you want to post it for. And if you get it, you get it. That's great. You know, there's no real rules to, you know, what a Tag Heuer out of a fighter jet thing is going to cost. So, all right. Here's the control stick. This is the coolest thing I found all week. Here's the control stick for the fighter jet right here. All right. It's a French fighter jet. It's a Fuga. Back from the 1950s. Missile lock, whatever it was, this, that, up here, click, click. I think elevator trim right here on the airplane. And then this is the real deal stuff. This is the kind of stuff you saw on, you know, like Red Dawn, way back in the 80s movies with, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and people are like, ah, missile lock, and doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and this and that. So that's what this was all about. And this thing is heavy, it's nice, and I'm probably going to keep it. I spent 65 bucks on this thing, so it was not cheap. But then again, it's totally one of a kind. So when something's super one of a kind, you're never going to find it again. And in my 8 years of hustling, I've never come across something like this. So I can totally justify the 65 bucks. And I can see someone paying up for this thing quite a bit. And there are no rules to what this can bring in. So I don't know. If I decide to advertise it, it might be up at 300 bucks, 500 bucks, maybe 1,000 starting offer. You never know. Someone wants this thing. All right, let's talk about Underwood typewriter. We've all seen typewriters before. I've messed with old ones. I had one in a previous video. No big deal, but it's an Underwood, so it's a pretty good brand. Bought it for 25 bucks. Probably bring in 50, maybe 80 bucks. No big deal. At that same estate sale, I bought a Westinghouse, I believe for my antique pick back in like maybe video 4 or 5. From the back of my SUV, I showed you some Westinghouse meters. And this is no different. This is a Westinghouse meter right here. And it's an ampere meter, all right? And it's been, I believe, used with a cut brush. So it was a black painted thing, kind of like this, but, you know, they decided to take a tool to it and make it this cool, like, finish. So it kind of looks like it just came straight out of the Titanic. It's really awesome. It's very heavy, and it's certainly worth the, I believe I paid 20 for this thing. 20 bucks I paid for it. It's probably worth about 100 in my antique mall, maybe 200 bucks. So it is really, really cool. Check that out. Alright, does that not scream Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet flying through a ship that sinks and Leo dies? You know? That's pretty cool. Alright, now, how many of you guys out there know what this is? I think if you were born in my time frame, late 70s, you know, in the 80s, and as long as there was cool pop music and Spuds MacKenzie and all this crazy crap, there were also these guys, the California Raisins, just a heavily, heavily promoted thing back in the 80s. And this is one of the bigger dolls that you can find out there. I've had smaller ones before, and the smaller ones sell like hotcakes, so the bigger ones are going to do the same. I bought this guy for $1, all right? This guy's probably going to bring in about 30 to 50 bucks. I'm not going to complain, and it's not going to be like, oh, I hate to see you go because it's a big, giant stuffed raisin. I'm sorry, I don't know what to do with it, but I know it's part of like 80s memorabilia, so when you see this kind of stuff, for all that you guys that you know, started up in the 80s, or maybe you're a hustler and you were born in the 90s, look for things that signify the decade. Very important. As for this, you know, right around this time was yeah, Spuds MacKenzie. There was this. There was Max Headroom. There was Swatch watches. There was all that stuff. You know, MC Hammer pants and blah 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 blah. So if you come across that stuff, buy it. All right. Here you go, California Raisin. You can type on the typewriter. You're such a good hustler. Okay. We got a box of keys. Alright. Cigar box of keys. Pretty cool. Lots of keys in here, about maybe 30 or 40 different old keys. And the cigar box is probably worth already what I paid for this thing, 15 bucks. So probably 15, 20 just on this box alone. And a bunch of cool old keys. They look nothing like current day keys today. And they're awesome. So someone's going to want this for some project. I know that. At the same place, I also bought this military like tray, USMC military tray. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can. Nothing crazy, just a really big heavy tray. Someone's going to want it at the antique mall when I put it up for sale. At the same antique mall, I'm also going to put this. It's a Coca Cola recipes tin. Bought it for $1. You know, I can't lose on this thing. It's really cool. Awesome. Okay. And then, out of that same military estate sale, I bought this. This is a Cryogen. It says Cryogen right here. It says Northrop Worldwide, probably Northrop Grumman was the company. It's NASA. It's a part of U.S. government property. Blah blah blah. NASA endorsed Cryogenic Box. So I don't know what was in this thing. I need to research a little bit more. More than likely some sort of gas thing that maybe people used. It says NASA on the side right there. Maybe they used it when they're in high altitudes to make sure the pilots were okay. I don't know. Maybe it was like a little test tube alien that they were like testing it in different atmospheres and different altitudes. I have no idea. But it's pretty cool and it's heavy and it's got a neat little handle. Bought it for $10. I couldn't pass it up because I just knew if I went back to the estate sale on a Sunday when everything was half off that this would not be there. And neither would that fighter stick, or neither would the Tag Heuer like gauge thing. So you got to make kind of hustler decisions, and yes, you're gonna have to pay up a little bit just to get the good stuff on the first day. And by the way, it was in the first 45 minutes of that sale. So the sale started at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was there at 7:45, and I got a lot of good stuff from that sale. All right, so the guy had a lot of military things. And he also had shoes, Paul Smith shoes on eBay. These shoes are 120 bucks at least. I bought these for 20 bucks. They're brand new, my size, and that's the worst part about it. They are my size, and they're really cool looking. And Paul Smith, what do they call it? Musa black canvas shoes. I'm not going to keep them as a hustler. I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to get away from the whole, oh, it's so cool. Maybe I'll use it. I'll always get around to this, and you never get around to it. Time is money, and money is money, and I can make more money on my money, blah, 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 blah. So, same place, I bought some cool, like, creative recreation sneakers. These are amazing. I think these are Milanos or something like that. Milano? Yeah, Milano high tops. They're cool. They'll probably bring about 60 bucks, but, I mean, that's cool for, like, a Michael Jackson outfit for Halloween. Dude, if you wore these things anywhere and you didn't get girls, you're an idiot. Like, this thing's amazing. So, I like that thing. I'm not going to wear them. They're size 10. But if they were size 12, I would actually consider keeping those for some weird reason. Okay, so you saw the cool stuff I found this week. And that was an amazing week. That's not all the cool stuff I found. That was just some of it, actually. I find a lot of cool stuff. I just try not to put a lot of the same stuff in my videos because it's like, yeah, you guys have seen remote control cars, and yeah, you guys have seen bikes, and blah, 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 blah. So I try to put a little bit of some different stuff in there, okay? Let's talk about having a process for your process. Okay, so what does this mean? Have a process. I kind of like just drew this up on a whim because I didn't really, it's not that I didn't have anything to talk about. I was just like, well, what's really important? Because when you get the item, you're just all happy. You're like, oh, you can kind of see like the dollar bills, and you're like, ooh, this is gonna be super cool. But then sometimes if you fail to have a process to actually process, the product from start to finish, from inception when you buy it, and then at the finish where you actually sell it, if there's no process in between, you know what, if you skip something in between and you miss it, then guess what, that might shave 20 to 100 to 50 bucks off of your price that you could have made. So it's very important to have a process for your processing. Alright, so have a process. What does that mean? Well, you're going to have to assess your item. Okay, when I say assess, it doesn't mean start tinkering with it or anything. It means like take it in your hand and look at it. And like just look at it, don't start fixing it, don't start cleaning it. Assess it. Figure out what it is. Like this little box right here. I had to assess it. I had to look around. I'm like, oh man, U.S. government property. Ooh man, NASA, cool. This is like, and I saw cryogen on the side. I'm like, ooh man, something cold was in here. So you gotta assess it, all right? And then from there you can kind of figure out what you need. Like when I assess a bike, I'll kind of like, assess it, make it like pedal around, and I start assessing and go, this thing needs new brake pads, or this thing might need a tube, and I put it on a piece of paper because I'm not going to go buy a tube late at night, or I'm not going to buy a tube just spontaneously like, oh, see you later, I'm going to go buy a tube, It's not going to be like that. I try to make a good use of my time, and if I need to go out there and go buy a tube, I'm going to go out there and buy whatever else I need for other bikes and whatever else I need for any of the other stuff that I find that day. So, assess your product. Take a look at it. Then, start tinkering with it and cleaning it a little bit, okay? Clean the items that need to be cleaned. If it's that rifle, or if it's anything like super antique, or old Harley gauge, Harley Davidson, this and that from a motorcycle, you might think twice about cleaning that because someone might want patina, like old rust or something on their product. They might want that stuff. So yeah, then you can start cleaning it, but be very selective, okay? As you deal with antiques, and I hope that through these shows that you kind of realize, like, he deals with a lot with everything, new stuff, antiques, bikes, and I do. But I can tell you one thing: if you make a mistake cleaning something, then it is toast. Like, you'll make a little bit of money when you could have made like hundreds of dollars on that thing. So All right, then you fix it, okay? Then you start fixing it. But remember, as a hustler, your fix time has to be factored into like your profit time, okay? So if you're spending like 20 hours fixing a bike that you bought for 20 bucks, well, guess what? You know, it doesn't really make sense. If you sell it for 100, you just spent 20 hours making 80 bucks. It's just a ridiculous proposition if you ask me. So don't do that. You know, do spot fixes, do like real easy stuff, and then if it is just going to take too long to fix or whatever, then disclose it on the ad and just say, hey, you know, this thing's got an issue and blah, blah, blah. Whoever figures out like, oh, I know that issue, I can take care of it, I'll just buy it, I don't care. So don't be deceiving, you know, deceptive, whatever. Just make sure that if there's something wrong and you can't get to it and you just don't feel like getting to it, then disclose it. Being an honorable hustler is very important. You'll get really, really good feedback on eBay, and then you'll have people that don't want to bomb your house when they come over and, you know, see you from Craigslist, and then, you know, the bike breaks down later on and they come over and set your house on fire. You don't want that either. So then research your stuff. Very important to research. This is probably the most fun in here, because then you start realizing, oh man, this thing's way cooler than what I thought. Oh man, this thing's like, you know, from the 1950s. When I found out that fighter jet was from a decade, from 1952 to 1962, I was like, holy wow, that's amazing. I can't believe it, you know? That's just a little stick. This thing could have killed people. You know, this thing was an integral part of a fighter jet that was being flown through the air, and maybe just with a click of a key it blew up someone's house. Like, I don't know, you know, but it's interesting to think that that exact thing is sitting in my garage. So research it, okay? Research it, and then after that, list it, okay? So list it, and list it well, good pictures, you know, but not too many, so you don't want to give away the whole story. You want to keep it like a Christmas present, like, ooh, I think I know what this is, as you unravel it. But you don't want to show the whole thing, because you want the people to bid it up, thinking it's something totally amazing. Okay, and then pack and ship if needed, and that just for the eBay stuff mostly. So pack and ship if needed. If you don't want to pack a bike in a box, go bring it to a bike store, like I've said in the other videos. And then if it's something like super big, but you know you can score really hard on it, bring it to a UPS store in your neighborhood. And then if it's something small, just pack it yourself. Okay, so some tips from me to you is you want to place items where you can always see them. Okay, what does that mean? So like, I get so much stuff in like every weekend and every week, and I don't, as soon as I come home, it's not like I just start like, oh, sets, clean, fix, no, I don't do that. I do other things. I play with my dogs, and I see my girlfriend, and I, you know, do things, and I ride my bikes, and I work out, and that's the stuff I like to do, okay? But there's always a time and a place. Carve out a time in your day to start hustling and like figuring out what you got and assessing it. Now, place items when you can always see them. Like when I start getting kind of, you know, I don't know, not bogged down, but I guess inundated with so much like hustling stuff that I haven't got to yet, I make sure to put them smack in the middle of my garage driveway, okay? So there's no way I can pull in my SUV unless I like look at that inherently and go, shoot, there's something right there in front of my way. I do that on purpose because, or I'll put it in the middle of my living room. That way, I don't want to see it every day, and I know the only way I'm getting it out is by putting it on an ad and doing all these things, okay? That's what I do. So your stuff might be different. This is just a tip from a hustler to other hustlers out there. Okay, and then dedicate a day a week to like just knocking it out, okay? Well, I don't say a whole day, obviously, but one day out of the week, maybe take from like 6 to 8 in the evening and just assess all your stuff and put it all on ads and do what you need to do. But if you're like me, you'll get to it a lot sooner because the money comes sooner and it's just a lot more fun. All right, so, you know, I told some stuff on my last videos like, hey, comment and thumbs up and good feedback, and I'll comment on your stuff, and I think people responded. That was cool. Thank you very much to all my people that have subscribed to my channel. Really awesome. And thanks to all the people that have commented on my stuff. I really enjoy all y'all's videos out there because they're very interesting, and quite honestly, I learn a lot from it. So, thank you very much. With that being said, continue to thumbs up my channel and this and that. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I got some cool things coming up in the near future. Things like, I wouldn't call them sweepstakes. They're just little, I've got something cool and I want to give it to one of my guys out there that's watching my videos. So, if you're my #1 fan, or if you're this and that, and if you start commenting, I think the way I'm going to do it is like, I'm going to have an item and I'm going to go, hey, for anybody that comments on my comment thread, the more amounts that you comment, you know, I'll put you on a little index card, and I'll throw you into a little bag. I'll shake it all up and I'll draw a card out, and whoever gets that card will get the item that's going to be up there. And I think I might start with the Civil War bullets on the first one, so we'll see. I don't know. If you want some Civil War bullets, let me know. Comment on my videos and tell me. I think that would be a great idea to put the Civil War bullets. I think they're still my antique one too. So let me know. That might be a really cool thing to get in the mail from someone else across the nation that you've been seeing on YouTube. And if you want those things, let me know. But I'm going to be putting little things here and there. I'm looking all over my garage going, wow, there's just so much stuff in here. And I don't mind parting with a certain amount of it if it wins me some good people and viewership. So, all right, thumbs me up, comment down below. And I will talk to you guys soon or whenever I get something really awesome. Okay? See you guys later.